Welcome to the LANCave, and I just realized my lights are off. What a day, what a week it has been. I'm gonna start that again. There's Owen.
Hey.
We're gonna do take two. We'll do it live.
Just trying to get a way to get my new video games in there.
Yeah. You show off the hotness. Show it off. Come on. And now I'll fix my camera. Get the light on. I got a whole lighting thing going on. Maybe 2 seconds on that. Yeah. Sometimes you get everything ready and you're like, man, this is gonna be great, and you forget one thing, and it happens to be the thing that people look at apparently. And there we go.
And people who are listening to the audio version are just like, what's going on?
What is going on? Well, you should watch us live every single Wednesday at 8:30, 7:30 Central, and you can check us out live because we're here talking gaming news, giving you video gaming stuff, nerd stuff, all kinds of stuff, all rolled into one, fun and rambly, and mostly fun. What do you think, Owen?
I think that's probably a great idea. But
Yeah.
if you don't want to catch us live, I understand. It's Wednesday night. You could be, I don't know what people do on Wednesday nights.
Not eating tacos. Meatloaf? I don't know.
I Wingstop Wednesdays in this household. So that's what we do. But I mean, you could just not want to watch live, but you can everywhere. You can at youtube.com/TheLanCave. You can at twitch.tv/TheLanCave. You can at facebook.com/TheLanCave. So if you don't happen to like Facebook, as some don't, we are at YouTube. If you don't like YouTube, well, I don't know what you've been doing for the last 20 years, but you can go to Twitch. So feel free to tune into your platform of choice.
Yeah, I even thought about putting this. Yeah, I even thought about putting this on TikTok, but that video format, the verticality, is throwing me off because everything else we got the widescreen. You know what else is throwing me off? And speaking of that, you've seen the Snyder Cut trailer, right?
No, I didn't need to subject myself to more of that movie.
So, they are streaming / releasing it. It's in the Imax aspect ratio, and if you're not familiar with that,
that's really big.
It's big. By that I mean it's taller. So you're gonna have black bars on the back. Bars. It sounded like I'm from Minnesota. You're gonna have bars. You have bars on the sides right there. You're So instead of having the nice 16:9 widescreen that we're used to, it's going to be it's going to be chunky. It's going to be a big square in the middle, like you're watching. It's not standard definition, but it's that aspect ratio, very close to the aspect ratio of standard definition. And I get there's more here, right? There's more information here, but I'm like, why not just make that information out here? Yeah, right? This is how we as directors we do, right?
For those of you who are
like
listening,
this,
I just did the little, square thing that you do with your thumb and your pointer finger whenever you're trying to get the camera shot.
Because that's what the directors do. And instead he's like, I want this. That doesn't even... What is that? I don't even know. I don't know. So I get it. It is, like this.
Yeah,
is that how he chunked around?
This is why you guys have to be watching sometimes. That's okay, audio listeners. We still love you.
Well, so Zack Snyder really enjoyed. So I feel this is my problem with the Snyder Cut, and I'm gonna watch it. I really hope that it is good, but I feel there's a word I'm dancing around here. It's self-gratifying. I feel like for Zack Snyder, it's very self-gratifying. It's like he gets to do whatever he wants, the way that he wants to do it. He even was thinking about releasing it only in black and white because that's the way that he watches it. And I'm like, this is pretentious. It's no longer I want to finish my vision. It's I'm going to do things the way I want, and it's not the way the studio would want. And
from what I understand, they're not paying him to do it though. So
correct.
At that point, you get to do whatever you want.
Yes.
I get to do whatever I want and not watch that terrible movie again. If you're gonna let me know. We'll talk about it whenever it comes out. But I could barely make it through the 2.5 hours of it. I can't make it through.
Yeah.
What's the runtime?
I think it's a little over 4 hours, if I'm not mistaken.
There's no ungodly way that I'm going to sit there for 4 hours. I can't, we've talked about this
Yeah.
in terms of gaming and stuff recently, where like I can put in a solid 2 hour session, and
Yeah.
then once we start getting past 2 hours, I'm like, should I get up? Should I walk around? Should I put the controller down? Even if I could keep going, it's like I just have this thing in the back of my mind. So then that's something that I enjoy doing. And
Yeah.
if I was to go sit at this movie that I expect not to enjoy whatsoever, there's no way. I hope it is good though. I know that there's a lot of DC fans out there that want it to be good, that are saying that Snyder didn't get to fulfill his vision, that Joss did a terrible job, and there's probably some truth to all of that. But I didn't think Snyder was a good director to begin with. So
yeah,
I hope it's good. I just don't expect it to be.
I think Snyder is a great director from a visual standpoint. The man knows how to not just tell a story, but like the visual aspect of his movies. They're masterpieces. They're beautiful, and they're self-indulgent. And if you're okay with that, like grandiose, every single, like, you can pause, like Watchmen. I love Watchmen from a visual standpoint. The pacing is the script is okay, but they butchered a lot of the source material. But visually, it looks great. 300 is a great example too. 300, it's okay, but visually, it's beautiful. So, like, if I get more of that, I mean, I'm happy, but I don't know how to feel. Also, the fact that Warner said, like, we're not doing Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. Like, this is just its thing. This is not the future of DC, is what they're saying. So if it's not the future, what's the point?
I just think once you've seen a Snyder movie, you've seen a Snyder movie. That's the thing. And again, it's not a knock. If you like it,
Yeah.
you mentioned Watchmen, you mentioned 300. I can't watch 300 anymore. The movie doesn't hold up at all, in my opinion. I think it was really cool the first time you see it, and then after that, it's like, okay. And the same thing with Watchmen. I liked it the first time I saw it, and then after that, I can't watch it again. There's nothing that makes me want to keep coming back to his movies, and really, there's nothing that makes. I'm pretty much done with him, and unless he just happens to pick a character or a subject where it's like, oh, I gotta see that, and unfortunately with this, I've already seen it. I just don't expect that to do I don't know. I really feel like I'm being mean to Snyder here. I just don't care for his style anymore.
Yeah.
I think that he has not really evolved much, but I think if there's anything to tell if he is going to evolve, it's going to be this cut of the movie. I'm just not going to be the one to be able to tell you all if that happens.
Yeah, and I think, and it's okay, like, I'll watch it and I'll let you know, like, objectively, because I thought the Justice League movie that came out was well, I thought the movie that came out was it's like, it's not great. Am I gonna sit down and, like, pop that into the I know Blu-ray player? I know, like, it's not even streaming. Like, am I gonna put that into the Blu-ray player and watch it? Am I gonna sit and enjoy it, or would I put on Infinity War, which, like, Whitney and I rewatched last weekend? That's a 2 hour 40-minute movie, but I'm at home. I can pause, take a bio, get a drink. I can enjoy it without having to, like, the theater experience is great, but at home it's nice to be able to do that. 4 hours of that, though. Like, I don't know how my back is gonna do. Like I know, I'm like, do I need to bring this chair in? Because I can sit in this chair for a good 4 to 6 hours, maybe, like, but I don't know. Like, part of that's being our ages, like, where, and also, like, I'm like, I gotta devote 4 hours where I'm not doing, like, all right, make sure that I've already have the dishes done. Make sure I got, like, everything else handled. Because my brain does that. Does your brain do that? Where it's like, you're sitting watching a movie and you're like, shoot, I gotta do this and this. Yeah.
I'm pretty good about, with a kid, you have to be all about routine.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty good about doing all the things that I need to get done before I have the fun. Not that having a kid isn't fun and everything, but everybody knows what I mean. I tend to do a pretty decent job of saying like, okay, kid's asleep. All right, let's go wash the bottles out for the day. Let's go wash his plate. All right, now I'm gonna go shoot some stuff in Call of Duty. Like I have a pretty good process to it. And I will say, since you mentioned Infinity War, to Snyder's credit, I'm not going to be spending a lot of time rewatching Marvel movies either. I'm giving some separation time. I'm giving some relaxation time.
Sure.
I'm hoping that with WandaVision and this setup for the next phase, I'm trying to get myself re-interested in the thought of another phase of Marvel movies, because I think that they ended it really well with Infinity War and Endgame. I thought that was 10 years of my life to those movies. And then Spider-Man came out, and I had zero interest. I watched it, and I was bored. And I was I don't know where this is going.
I loved Spider-Man, and technically that is the last of that phase. Yeah. It doesn't. It feels like it's like it's the epilogue. But
it was a bad epilogue.
Like I liked it, but like I don't compare it to Endgame and Infinity War like at all. I can't compare it, but you're right. I mean, I guess you don't want to burn yourself out. We have 4 Marvel movies coming out this year.
I could say I wasn't comparing it. It was more like right after that, as an epilogue, I was like, this doesn't set me up for the future of Marvel, and I think that that's what WandaVision is doing. And to WandaVision's credit, it's awesome. It's refreshing. They weren't just trying to go combat heavy and villain heavy and everything, and I'm not going to spoil anything here, but in terms of the show, they took this approach to it that says, hey, we can do a lot of cool things with these Marvel characters. It's not just about suiting up and going to fight the big bad guy or gal. It's about these characters have their own emotional settings, and I'm honestly really digging what they'll be able to do with this. I don't know if you saw, but they just put out the release date for the Loki show that's gonna come out in June.
I didn't see the release date. Oh,
I think it's June 11th. Okay. And then they put a name on Spider-Man 3.
Saw that. I thought we were gonna go into that. How do you feel about the name?
It's just continuing the home name. It's I think that they're if anything, if they don't live up to all the teases that they're doing, all that we're hearing about the multiple Spider-Man stuff, like are we gonna get Madam Web and stuff? Like that's what I want to know. And if we don't get anything close to that, I'm gonna be even more disappointed in this one than I was in the second one.
Well,
I really like what Disney Plus is doing. I'm excited about the, not excited, but I'm interested in the Falcon Winter Soldier show. At least just, are they going to be fighting over the Cap mantle, that kind of thing. I kind of wonder where that's going. I'm really digging the TV show aspect. I'm liking the miniseries. Like, I think that is a cool way to kind of break apart from the movie system, and maybe it's something that DC should look into as well, since they have their own streaming platform. I know that they have the Titans show. They have what's that other show that they did?
Not Batwoman.
It's another team up show. No, it's on the DC streaming platform.
It's something tomorrow. I'm wrong. I'm probably gonna get it wrong. I got so like Legends of Tomorrow, but that's not. There's something else.
That's
Doom Patrol.
That's the Arrow. Yeah, Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol. Yeah.
No, we're not talking about the Arrowverse.
Yeah. So we got Doom Patrol, and then we have the new Superman TV show that came out yesterday, which I've heard is terrible.
That's a part of the Arrowverse. That's part of the Arrowverse too.
Yeah, it's true. That's true, because those things aren't attached. That's kind of what, like, I wish that they were. Because when that started, it wasn't called the Arrowverse then. Their CW was just doing its thing, and they're like, nothing there is going to touch here, and vice versa. And I feel like that was a disservice to DC, because people who watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got like extra stuff the Marvel people didn't get watching the movies, and the people just watching the movies still got to enjoy what they were doing. In DC, it's like it's just so segregated. I don't like it, but. I
like the fact that they're not. that in terms of Marvel, like, you have to fit in that universe. And if you watch something that doesn't seem like it fits, then you're just like, this sucks. At least with DC things, you can be like, all right, Arrow was cool. The Flash was cool for a couple seasons. Legends of Tomorrow was cool for a couple seasons. And they're not married to that universe. They can still experiment and do more things. And even though I don't think that they've really nailed anything outside of Shazam and Wonder Woman 1.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they can kind of do it. I think that Marvel nailed the all-encompassing universe, and I think right now DC's never really going to be able to measure up to that, and that's why we have a new Batman movie coming out with Robert Pattinson. That's why they're going to do that Flash movie, but are they doing Flashpoint? So like, I bet they are, so that they can reset and do what they want in regards to that. But this is a lot of movie and comic book talk.
It is, but I was like, I started talking about, like, you know what, there's some stuff there that I think people are enjoying, and I'm excited about the rest of the rest of the year. I'm excited about the new phases. I'm also excited about gaming because I've been doing some gaming. You've been doing some gaming.
Bunch of gaming news this week.
We did. I think we're gonna have to skip our backlog. We're gonna have to double up a little bit and actually talk about some gaming because we got some stuff right off the bat. Got some Cyberpunk news coming at you, and Cyberpunk. Now this has been the ongoing like drama. I don't want to like just keep shoveling fuel on that fire.
We're not Duncan,
but we're not. But CD Projekt Red coming out saying, hey, we wanted to deliver this patch. We weren't able to do it based on the time span, what we were trying to do. Basically, because of the cyber attack that happened, it delayed them working on the patch, that's what ransomware is designed to do. It is, hey, they hijack you, you pay them, or it delays your work. Is it worth your money to throw some money at this to stop it? And then you get to go on about your life. And in CD Projekt Red's case, it's not just that. They sold the source code. Like, that got sold on the black market. So CD Projekt Red's like, no, we stand by our principles. We don't negotiate. We're not going to do this. We have backups. We're fine. So they had to take, I don't know, a week maybe to like get back into the swing of things. You lose momentum because that's what happens at work. You lose momentum if you're not being able to hit it full speed. And then all their assets got sold. So or not all of them, but enough.
And just to reset a little bit, just so everybody kind of knows what was going on. He already mentioned the ransomware thing. So they did get hacked, and they did get the source code for Cyberpunk stolen. That happened recently. But what was happening prior to that, we've talked enough about the poor launch of the game, so we're not going to go into that. But they did have a game plan laid out that said we're going to do big patch 1, and we're going to do big patch 2, and then we're going to work on the next gen version of the game. And that was kind of how they were laying out their year. There's going to be some free DLC down the line that's unannounced. And so they released patch 1, I believe, in January. So version 1.1 of the game did come out. And then they were working on big patch 2. And because of that cyber attack, that has now been delayed what looks like a full month. They say the second half of March. So honestly, even though I think I think that it just sucks. Like, they're everything about them. I've talked enough bad things about them. I've talked enough empathizing things about them. This sucks, but I'll be honest with you, I saw this and I was like, cool, that's another month I don't really have to worry about playing the game. I'm going to keep playing my backlog.
Basically. I mean, I started it and it wasn't bad, but I was having glitches. I'm playing on a PS5. The PS5's not supposed to have the problematic, the game-breaking glitches, right? Playing on the next gen console, playing a PS4 version on the PS5, I was having enough glitches that I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. And Whitney, who doesn't know all the backstory, right? The wife doesn't know the backstory. Like, she's trashing it. And now that being said, she's in the other room right now trashing Assassin's Creed, because she's been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla and she likes it, but she keeps running into glitches. And I said, and by that, she has to reload something and she loses like 20 minutes of work or maybe 10 minutes. but it's enough.
That's
It's
a sign
annoying.
for me not to start that game.
It's annoying. Soon. Yeah, it's annoying. And again, that's on the Series X. She'll basically do a mission, and she gets to a specific spot in the mission, and you're like, oh, I can't interact with this character. All right, load my last autosave. Okay, I'm okay now. And she probably does that like once or twice a session. That's a lot. And that game's been out for 5 months now. The game's been out long enough for that not to be a problem. So
since November.
Yeah, so since November, so 4 months. It's been out long enough for her not to have that problem. So Cyberpunk having maybe similar problems. In mine, they were texture problems, and some of which they didn't go away, like hair on a character, adding to a character, and then another set of hair, different hair, adding onto the character. So they have like two hairdos on top of each other, clipping through each other, and it just stayed that way. And I was like, that's annoying. That breaks my immersion. Like, I know I'm playing a video game. I don't want to be reminded that this is all a video game. I know it's fake. It's still real to me.
So I have Assassin's Creed Valhalla from the sale, but you just convinced me that's another thing that I don't have to play for a few months. Let's let them fix that too.
Push that aside.
I'm just pushing, dude. We're not really talking about it because there's just so much news, but I'm playing Final Fantasy Tactics right now on my Vita. That's, I've gone way back into the web, so I'm not in a hurry to play some of this new stuff now. Yeah. So that's 2 games that I don't have to worry about till later in the year. Maybe I'll play Assassin's Creed Valhalla in November and act like it's a brand new game, because I think that I'm pretty sure that they're not releasing one this year.
They're probably not. I've been enjoying Demon Souls. By the way, this is me killing. I have this on loop. This is me killing one of the bosses. This is one of the archdemons. Actually, I think I may kill both of them in this video. No, it's only one. I just sat here on a ledge and just shot the boss with arrows until it died. And it took me like cheese. And I'm just like, this is cheesy because I can. The reason was I wanted this. There's a trophy. So that's the Maiden Estrella, and in front of her, the guy that I'm shooting right there, she has this guy who's like a knight who's protecting her because she's like this priestess. And you can get a trophy if you can kill her before killing him. You get a trophy. I was like, okay, I'll cheese it and get the trophy. So there you go. And if you have a Dex build, it's pretty darn easy. I've been doing that. I've been playing some Resident Evil 2. Talk about going to the backlog. I'm going to be playing some Diablo 2 later this year. Now, it's technically not a backlog because it's going to be the new one, but Diablo 2, I mean, this is one of my games. Like, Final Fantasy, it's Final Fantasy, it's Zelda and Diablo. Like, I kid you not, I wrote Diablo fan fiction before I knew what fan fiction was. Like, I wrote Diablo fan fiction for my English class in high school, in my freshman year in high school, and I didn't use any of the names. It was just kind of in the tone and the setting, and because I love this universe, and getting everything that I'm seeing in this is making me happy. Like, all the choices that they made, I feel like they looked at what happened with World of Warcraft 3 and the remaster and said, okay, let's not do anything like that ever again. And this is a different studio, but I feel like Blizzard, Activision as a production said, okay, you can't do that. And the devs were probably like, yeah, I'm never going to do that. You can switch between, I don't know if you've seen like all the stuff on here, you can switch between classic mode and the new mode. Because you're basically playing Diablo 2, the old OG Diablo 2, enhanced engine, all that, but you can still play the old school game, so it still feels like the old school game. I'm so excited. And cross progression is really cool. I'm betting to do that. I would have to buy it on multiple platforms. Is what I'm gonna guess.
So here's why you can believe in this version. Yeah. Because like many, I was pretty skeptical at first at the idea of them doing Diablo 2 again. This is a game from my childhood. I won't play it anymore because it doesn't really hold up, but I had my boas on back in middle school. I loved it. But here's why you can believe in it. Vicarious Visions are the people who put out your Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2. If you haven't played that, it's fantastic. Runs great, looks great. They actually just announced the PS5 and Xbox Series versions and the Switch version coming up this year, $10 if you want to upgrade to the next gen version, which I've been saying on this show I believe is completely fair to pay people for their work without having to pay full price for the game again. Or if you just want the Switch version, that's going to be available too. But Vicarious Visions has shown that they are good at remastering a game. So that instantly made me a believer in this project. And I'll definitely be picking it up. I don't know if I can I don't know if I'm going to go through the whole thing again like I did. I've beaten Diablo and Ball a billion times, but maybe, who knows? Maybe it hooks me. Maybe the quality of life stuff that they have in there, things like auto picking up gold, things like that. Those just minor improvements are enough to keep me hooked. And it'll be fun to bust out the Boazon again. That was what I always ran. I literally never ran any. I think I ran Necromancer for a very little while, but then the Boazon really hooked me. So I believe in this. I think this is great. I think this is a great rebound from a terrible Warcraft Reforged. Let's go, Blizzard. Good job picking the right company or developer rather to redo this game. Don't ever let anybody who messed with Reforged touch anything ever again.
Never again. I feel like there were terrible decisions made on that, and especially when you're making a game that's all about that. I mean, part of it's nostalgia. Part of it is these are legitimately, objectively amazing games. Some of them aged better than others. Final Fantasy VII. If you've never played OG Final Fantasy VII and you go back and play it, there's parts of that don't age as well. Same thing with Diablo 2, and we love those games. I'll say the same thing about playing Ocarina. I would say that aged better than some of these. This is a remaster / the video that I'm playing is a machine learning remaster trying to make it look better because the old school one just looks terrible. But it's an amazing game. I'll probably go back and play the whole thing. I'm not going to do be part of there are people who are still playing Diablo 2 and these games for years and years and streaming it. It's still that popular of a game because Diablo 2 is better than Diablo 3. I mean,
I've heard Diablo 3 got turned around really well. And I've also heard, and what makes me excited of what they were able to do with Diablo 3 is that they were able to make it function with controllers. And so that makes me excited for a console version of Diablo 2 Resurrected. I think that even if I have way fonder memories of 2 than I do of 3, and 3 started off terribly with their marketplace, I think they brought it back around. I think that they did what they needed to do to make that game work. And I think that because of that, I think that Resurrected is going to benefit from it. But I do want to stop you. You brought up Ocarina aging well.
No, I said okay. So Final Fantasy VII, right? Diablo 2, I'm I think both of them didn't age very well in different ways. I'm saying Ocarina aged a little better. I'm not saying it aged well. I love that game. But no, I'm saying it's easier to go back and play Ocarina of Time than it is to go back and play Diablo 2, in my opinion.
We do have an opinion that I've shared many times on this show, and it's funny that we had somebody in the chat on Facebook, Jeremy, mentioning Majora's is way better. That is an opinion that I've shared many times on this show, that Majora's is way better. But I do want to say, I did pick up Ocarina this last week. Actually, I had a feeling that we were just going to talk about Ocarina, and I was like, I need to play this game again, but I literally cannot play the 64 version ever again. I hate it so much. But a lot of people told me that the 3DS version is fantastic, so I picked it up on 3DS. It's going to be I'm throwing it on the backlog pile of things to do while I'm bored. Maybe whenever I'm done playing Tactics, I'll jump into some Ocarina. But I've heard that that's the way to play that game, and so I'm gonna give it the adult shake. I'm gonna throw it up against Majora's Mask 3D, and we're gonna see who wins. It's gonna be Majora, but I'm gonna try and give Ocarina a really fair.
See, we disagree on like the rankings, right? But like neither one of us is like, no, that's trash. Like if you said that about Ocarina, no, but like we can all object, like look at them and like, okay, well, like I think that you like Breath of the Wild is your favorite, like it's now your top, right? And it may be mine. I don't know. I would say playing Ocarina on the 3DS was a great experience. I don't know, because Ocarina's been like my favorite, and like everything else trying to hit that has just slightly missing the mark. I think Breath of the Wild probably did that, but I agree the 3DS version of Ocarina is amazing. I beat it twice on 3DS. It was my second time second time I played, and I'm sure you've done this with Ocarina and others. I played like the beginning of Ocarina and like, or probably half the game, probably like at least 30 or 50 times. I don't even know.
You get to the water temple and you're like, do I want to keep playing the game?
Yeah,
that's what that's the spot. You're fine through you get your 3, you get your master sword, you go through the fire temple, go through the forest temple, but then you get to the water temple and you're like, do I want to keep doing this?
Well, do I want to keep doing it? Because the only way to do that and like still enjoy myself, the only way to do it and still enjoy myself is like I get to that point and then I go, let me look at the guide, and I'll just go through the guide.
Just show me where the key
Just go through the guide real quick. Here's the steps, up, down, up. Okay, here's the water levels. Now I can go have fun. Jeremy in the chat talking about Skyward Sword is a bad move for Nintendo. So you missed that last week, by the way.
I did, and I was going to bring it up since I got a chance. Yeah. So for those who don't know, I'm in Texas, and we got destroyed this last week. So thankfully, Patrick did the show without me, because I literally had 0 power. I didn't hate this announcement. I hated that this is the first thing that they did with Zelda's 35th anniversary, and I realized that the pandemic has pushed things back. So from what I've heard and read from some people is that we're technically still in Mario's 35th because of all the pandemic things that happened, and we can expect them to kind of kick off Zelda stuff in the summer, which is what's happening with Skyward Sword coming out. I don't hate this move. I really think people should give it another shake, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did hate Fee. Fee sucks. More annoying than Navi by a factor of 10 at least. The motion controls were iffy, but they're taking the motion control out of it. That's awesome. They're redoing the motion control if you do want to play with that with the Joy-Cons. I like that. I'm not going to play the motion version. I'm going to sit there with my Pro controller and play it like I play every other Switch game these days, because the Joy-Con. I ordered those Joy-Cons, by the way. I'm probably just going to display them here so that Patrick feels bad about himself.
Yeah. So, you messaged that you grabbed the.
I gave
Joy-Cons.
You a link to try.
You gave me the link. Right after you bought yours, you do.
Yeah.
No, like
I always add to cart first.
Well, of course, no, but you hooked it up, like you're always there. Sharing that information, because I've been waiting to figure out where they were, and by the time I clicked it, it was gone. I play Switch in handheld mode much more than I used to. The Pro controller is considerably more comfortable though. If I'm going to sit down and enjoy and play a game, I'm gonna play it on the Pro controller, and I don't need I don't need the I don't need the, what was I gonna say? Just lately, the way that I've been playing Switch has been more mobile than it was. Like the first 2 years of playing Switch, I was playing docked like the entire time. Those are just they're pretty. I feel like the design, while it's Skyward Sword, it's still similar enough that it has a feel of the general idea of Zelda. Like when I look at that, it's not branded overt in my opinion, which I appreciate, because I don't like when it's like, oh, this is the special Wind Waker whatever, and it's like, it's overtly Wind Waker as opposed to it's Zelda with a little bit of Wind Waker in it. It's a good balance. But I thought Skyward Sword was okay. I did not like it near as much as I like a lot of the other Zelda games.
No,
I need to give. What do you think about Twilight Princess versus Skyward Sword, though?
Twilight Princess, way more. Yeah. I think that there's definitely a part of Twilight that I know everybody hates, but Twilight is up there in my rankings for me just because of the overall story of the game. There's definitely those annoying collect the things while you're that is a awful game breaking experience where you're just like, this is just super frustrating, but the overall aesthetic of Twilight Princess is way too good. So it's Twilight Princess is more, and I hope that we get that re-released again. I have my Wolf Link amiibo somewhere up there. Here's what I want, though. Just before we move on with next week's news, it's only because I want them to make Link to the Past randomizer a thing on Switch Online, just like we got Mario 35 in there. I want, for those who don't know, Link to the Past randomizer has been a big online thing, especially in the Twitch community, but in other circles as well. There's been contests. It's a big speed running thing. I want Nintendo to embrace that, put that on the Switch, make that a mode in Link to the Past. Give me that. I think that they need to follow up Skyward HD and just go ahead and port on over Twilight Princess HD as well. Pie in the Sky, we get Ocarina and Majora's Mask 3DS versions on the Switch. Yeah. I don't think that that's going to happen, but that would be enjoyable. And then
they call it the Zelda 64 collection or something like that.
Yeah, I think that the reason why I don't necessarily need them to do all of that, but want them to, is just because they bombed so hard on Mario 3D All-Stars that those ports were terrible. They didn't do anything. So if they're not going to treat my beloved franchise with care, then they might as well just leave them off. But Twilight Princess is easy enough and has already been redone on the Wii U to where I think you don't need to do anything. Just give us Twilight Princess HD. Wind Waker HD as well, I think, is again another game you don't really have to do anything with.
The art style lends itself to easily, you can just port it over and it's fine. Like with the HD version that was on Wii U is phenomenal, and that's a game that I didn't hate, but I didn't like it until I played it on Wii U, which was I think my third or fourth attempt at playing Wind Waker, and it just all clicked, and I was like, I love this. It's good. It's different, but I enjoy it.
I think that you could get those two over easily, but don't bother giving me Ocarina, don't bother giving me Majora's unless you're going to work on the camera issues and make that a little bit more current. That's the reason why Ocarina doesn't hold up at all, is because that camera is just awful. Z targeting is just, it worked on that controller and it no longer works anymore. So we just need to move on. But I appreciate everybody indulging me a week later on a little bit of Zelda talk. I know I wanted to be here for it last
That's
week.
Why I had the video ready, man. That's why I had the video ready. So I was like, there. I knew we'd talk about it. I wanted to bring up something, and the next bit of news I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, but I wanted to bring it up because people are bringing it up, having to do with the new Harry Potter game. It's like I would be remiss if I didn't mention this because it's part of the zeitgeist. It's part of what's happening. And so for to set the stage, everyone's like, all right, well, it's Harry Potter, and some people don't like some of the things that J.K. Rowling has been saying, or some of the things that she may or may not believe, what have you, in regards to trans, in regards to different races, all these different things. There's a background on that you can go look at. So everyone's like, well, at least I can enjoy the game because it doesn't have that kind of baggage. She got paid. But people are like, well, maybe I can set those things
theoretically doesn't have anything to do with the game.
Theoretically, she got paid in one way or another, but she doesn't have input, so maybe it's okay. Well, apparently the lead designer has some history that's has similar baggage in regards to attacking feminism. I'd say more like neo-feminism, not like traditional feminism. But a lot of attacks of that, a lot of Gamergate stuff that just it puts a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't know. We always talk about voting with your wallet, right?
Sure.
So now do you still, if your political view is that, and mine, you know, I'm all about like just respecting anybody for who they are, and if they feel like, you know, if they want to identify some way, or if they I'm going to respect that person's decision because it doesn't hurt me to respect that person. So when someone is kind of the opposite of that, I don't want to support that, but I want to play this game. So it puts you in a position where the more people who buy it, the more successful he is. So yeah, it's a tough position. I don't know how do you feel about that? Do you separate the art from the I wouldn't even call it an artist. I don't know. A lead designer kind of is an artist, but do you separate the art from artist in this case?
I mean, I've never been big on separating the art from the artist anyway. It's just whether or not you care that much.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. I've said on this show, if you think that J.K. Rowling doesn't have anything to do with this game, then you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
There's no she just has such a history of control over her product, and rightfully so. It's her product. Her views aside, but they tried to make it clear that she has nothing to do with this game, and I'm calling BS. Yeah. I'm saying she absolutely does in some unofficial capacity, and then regardless, it's her world. So you have to start there, and it's like, yep. Does that bother you enough not to play this game? Okay, yep. Now we move on to this guy, and to be honest, like, I'm not saying I agree with anything he says. Yeah. I didn't bother giving any of his videos clicks. Same. I don't care. That's the thing, is I think that they were, you know, by everybody pointing it out, they're just driving traffic towards him. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the game. I want to know if the game is going to be worth my time. Again, for like the millionth time, this game is being made by the people who made Disney Infinity, and this is a vastly different game. If this game sucks, my decision's already made.
Yeah.
I'll face that wallet decision whenever I find out that
Sure.
they were successful in making this game or
Yeah.
not.
I'm probably not going to pre-order it for that reason, because I want to see all of the reviews come out and then make a decision, because I like the Harry Potter universe.
I think that it's really hard whenever there's probably, I don't know how big their team is, but let's just say that there's 100 people working on this game. Okay, and what are the odds that more than one of them suck? Okay, what are the odds that
Sure.
the majority of them don't?
Sure.
And so whenever everybody's talking about boycotting these games, one, it never works, especially in a franchise like Harry Potter. Everybody's still going to go see the next Fantastical Beast, even though the last one was terrible. They're still going to read a book if another book ever comes out, because they just love that universe. I know that there's plenty of people out there that refuse to support that. I've heard enough people say that they're just going to pirate it. I'm like, isn't that this similar? I don't know. I would say, though, if you feel that strongly about JK, don't buy this game.
Sure.
If you feel that strongly about this guy, don't buy this game.
Yeah.
For me, I just don't care enough about either of them. I care more about, is the game good?
Yeah.
Then we'll see, because I don't think that their parent company is a bad company.
Yeah.
I don't think that the majority of the people working at this studio are bad people. If we were going to do this every time, look at CD Projekt Red. They live in Poland, and for people who don't know, Poland is a very anti-gay country.
This is true.
You can bet a lot of money that a lot of people at that company do not share a worldview that is acceptable in 2021. But you don't care. You look at the game and you're like, do I want to play Witcher 3? Okay, Witcher 3 was dope. I want to play it. Like, you know, not for me, but I'm talking about in general. People just are going to decide that the game is cool or not cool. I think it comes down to, I can easily say JK should shut up. I can easily say that this guy's an idiot, and then move on and be like, hey, does this game look like something I want to play?
Yeah.
No.
And
yes.
And I agree. And you're exactly right with a franchise this big. if the franchise this big, if they release it, and I say that because you never know, it could become vaporware, but I don't think it's going to.
No.
If they release it, it's going to sell pretty decent. If it's good, it's going to sell a lot. I mean, you mentioned Disney Infinity. I got Disney Infinity characters over here. I thought the game was mediocre, but the figures were so great that I bought a bunch of figures, so they got money off of me. But yeah, I'll wait. I'll wait and see what the reviews are like before I decide to buy it. But it did give me pause. But at the same time, like you could say similar things about like Randy Pitchford when it comes to like Gearbox and other people. Like I could drag a lot of people through the mud. Or bring up things, and you're exactly right. But like also like that's one person out of a team of, I don't know, 50, 100. I don't know how many people are making this game, but that's one person where the other people are amazingly passionate, wonderful people that their bonuses, a lot like CD Projekt Red, their bonuses are based on, a lot of the games are based on how well the game does from a monetary standpoint. So yeah.
And honestly, something about like what happened at Gearbox, I'm not saying it offends me more, it offends me differently, but like that gives me less reason to support the company as a whole, like Gearbox, and say buy a Borderlands 4 if it comes out, because you're not paying your people the way that you said that you would. Why would I support the top or the bottom in that point if I know that they're not going to get the money that they deserve? Not getting it.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, I'm not saying that it offends me different or like the same as these situations, and I want to make it clear I am offended. It's just a thing about whenever we look at these big projects now, whenever you're talking about voting with your wallet and saying you're not cool with that, you do have to realize that you're not just affecting one person when you're voting with your wallet. You're affecting lots of people in that case. And again, you just have to decide, like, does that weigh that much for you? And if you decide, yes, hey, I respect that, and that makes complete sense. And if you say, well, I want to support the other people that made the game because the game turned out to be really good, apparently. Yeah. Well, okay, I respect that. I respect that view too.
Yeah, because inversely, if the game at its core and everybody doing it was like, yeah, this is a pro-Nazi game where you get to play like it'd be like, okay, no, I'm definitely not supporting any of that.
You also have to look at the premise of the game and decide if that's
if where I'm like,
for you.
Yeah, because that's where I'm like, the extreme aspect of that would be like everybody on the game. It's like, oh, this is a really cool game and it's made by the Ku Klux Klan. It's like, all right, well, I'm not playing it. Like, I don't care what it is. Like at that point, so. Yeah.
Did you hear about that 6 days in Fallujah game or Fallujah?
I believe I know what you're talking about. This is the one where they said that they didn't want to be political. Right. I don't know like the full bit of it, but I heard a little bit about that.
So in that game that they just came out and said that you're only going to be playing as either the Americans or the coalition, and that kind of thing puts me off because that you know, unlike other war games, you don't get to play both sides. And so whenever I look at those games, anybody who knows me knows I hate faux patriotism. And so that immediately put me off of the game because they're not going to be telling those sides. So everybody's got those things that are just going to set them off. And I think the most important thing when it comes to that is being able to talk about it. And I think that's a huge problem when it comes to something like this Harry Potter thing is like, if you're going on Twitter about this, you can't have a conversation. Me and Patrick can have a conversation sitting here. And so, you know, be careful when you're going to engage those conversations. Know that you're probably not going to be getting a whole lot out of it other than people are just going to be spewing some fire.
It's hard on the internet to have a conversation. You have to take it like an adamant, whatever the topic is. Like, you either are pro or anti, and there's like nothing in between. You can't like speak objectively and critique like specific aspects of it, because people will just latch onto one side or the other. So yeah, I agree. It's annoying trying to talk on the internet. What also is annoying is not having a PlayStation VR 2 yet, because we don't have it yet. Oh, some audio should be accidentally playing. Apologies. I'm gonna pause that. Surprise! Now Owen can hear audio, so. So usually I have the stuff muted, but I can that proves out of the test, so you'll be able to hear audio if I play some stingers and stuff at you. So PlayStation VR, we did hear finally that we're going to get some PlayStation VR 2, that it's going to come out. They said they're excited that they're going to be continuing this, because PlayStation VR, I haven't seen recent stats. PlayStation VR for a while was the best-selling VR. Thank you, Owen, because I figured you're probably going to look at the stats. I know Oculus has, the new Oculus has been selling really well. I have a couple of friends of mine who purchased it, so it may have outsold the PlayStation VR at this point. Also, PlayStation VR took a little bit of a dip, and it's technically not natively compatible with the PlayStation 5, if you even have a PlayStation 5. So I don't know where the sales are on that, but PlayStation VR did pretty darn well for PlayStation. They have a couple iterations of it that are minor differences in regards to quality. I love mine, but getting to play a new version of it I think is going to be cool. Especially if you got the...
As of January, they had sold over 5,000 PSVRs, and I'm looking, as far as I know, that still is the highest selling headset of all time. I'm pretty sure that all of the other, like Oculus and so on, but I will say the Quest 2 is becoming pretty popular, although a lot of people are on the anti-Facebook thing on that. But I want to say, without being able to definitively say it, the last time that I checked, it was the highest selling VR headset.
And it's good. The Quest 2, I will say that the wireless aspect is a big bonus. I've got a friend of mine who absolutely loves hers and is playing like Beat Saber and some other things on there, which I'm probably gonna. Whitney and I were recently. We were out for Valentine's Day doing our Valentine's thing, and there was a Dave & Buster's, and we're like, let's go over to Dave & Buster's. Like, obviously it's stupid that we went out into like a public thing like that, but we're like, all right, well, we're gonna be cautious or whatever, as cautious as we could be. But half of the games that we were looking at were like, nope, don't want to touch it. VR, nope, not gonna put that on my face, because I want to play Beat Saber, and I'm like, I don't feel like I should do that, but probably gonna get it on my PlayStation VR. But one of the things that they did mention, though, because this is a little snippet from the thing. It said one of the innovations we're excited about in our new VR controller, which will incorporate some of the key features found in DualSense wireless controller, along with focus on great ergonomics. So the bit where they said key features found in DualSense controller, as soon as that's what I was thinking. Immediately I'm thinking haptic feedback, because the triggers don't make sense because it's a headset, but haptic feedback to give me subtle feedback as opposed to just vibrating my entire skull. Like, if it gives me a slight feedback in, like, your character gets hit and I get a slight little buzz, like, to my skull, that's going to be very immersive. And again, I'm assuming that they'd have something like that. You'd be able to dial it up, dial it down, so you could say, I just want give me like a 30% of whatever. You know, I don't want it too extreme, but just a subtle aspect of that, along with being isolated with because your eyes, you're isolating your vision, you're isolating your auditory, and by putting headphones on and giving me a little bit of feedback. Resident Evil is going to be insane in that.
Yeah, and a couple other things in there. We mentioned the Oculus Quest being cordless. This is confirmed to not be cordless. However, they are reducing it to a single cord, which to me tells me that they're going to be utilizing that front port for the USB Type-C port. So for those who don't know, on the PS5, there is a USB-C super speed on the front, and then a USB Type-A high speed on the front, and then on the back there's a USB Type-A super speed, 2 USB Type-A super speeds. I really doubt that they're going to have a situation where they wrap the cord around the back. So I'm gonna bet $1 that your USB-C port on the front is going to be utilized for PSVR 2. That is disappointing, but at least they are acknowledging like how clunky the setup was. So that means that it's probably going to be a little bit heavier of a headset, because the power is probably going to be held in the headset itself. and then powered by that USB-C port. I really wanted it to be wireless. I don't see at this point why they can't. But if that means that they focus a little bit more on the visuals, because as good as PSVR was, in terms of its affordability, the technology has come a ways. The thing that I'm hearing about Quest 2 is that people are very surprised that they're able to get the visuals that they have in there. I think another thing that that for those who don't know, this got released in a PlayStation blog post because they said that it's not coming this year. Here's my theory. You can tell me what you think of it. I haven't heard anybody else talking about that. I think that PSVR 2 is a lot farther along than they made it seem. They said that they're still working on it, but there's not a lot of PS5s out there. They did say that there's more. Jim Ryan did mention that there's more PSV. What am I trying to say? PSV5.
P5s.
Yeah. Okay. So there's more PS5s out at this point than there was PS4s at the time. However, there's not as many as they wanted. There is a superconductor shortage worldwide, so not just with PlayStations, but just everybody. There's a problem with graphics cards in terms of price points. You could probably bet a lot of money that AMD has raised the price on these people. I think that they intended PSVR 2 to come out this year, and they just can't justify it because of all the shortages of problems. Tell me what you think about that.
That's intriguing. It's a question of if the shortage affects both. And I did not think about that because I'll admit I'm not as knowledgeable about hardware as some. If there is a correlation, and I could see behind the scenes for them to be like, what do we want to do? Sell more PS5s or PSVR 2? Sell more PS5s. That's an easy decision if you're going to allocate resources and say, I have I need to allocate this and prioritize this. I hadn't heard anyone make that correlation yet, but if that is in fact if it is because of the same semiconductor, or if it could be related to the same delay, then wherever they are with PlayStation VR 2, I'd be like, hold up, just wait for a bit.
What that does, though, is that does allow them time to make, if I'm right, and let's just say I'm right, but theoretically, if I am correct, that means that they can work a lot of stuff out this year while they're working on getting PS5 stock up. While they're getting more PS5 owners out there. That gives them time to make a very clean PSVR 2 launch. I think, though, just based on how everything's going, we have a state of play tomorrow. I kind of wish it had been today so that we could talk about it on the show, but frankly, we have a lot of news this week. So, maybe it's a good thing that we get to hold that off. The only thing is by the time you hear us next Wednesday, it's going to be a few days old, but bear with us. We're still going to talk quite a bit about the state of play next week, I imagine. Here's my guesses for tomorrow. We're going to see Horizon Zero Dawn. We're still not going to have a release date. They're going to say 2021 still. We're not even going to see God of War because even though they originally said that it was going to come out this year, it's not. It's going to be next year. They might throw up the graphic again and just say, hey, we're still working on God of War.
Yeah.
And they better make it a PS5 exclusive. Do not give me this Horizon treatment of making a PS4 game. Now, we know that Horizon has been in development for some time. That's why I am okay with it still being a PS4 game. I don't want that for God of War 2. I want a PS5 game. I want what happened with the first God of War. For those who don't know, when God of War came out, I bought a PS4 Pro and my 4K TV for that video game because of how good it was supposed to look, and it lived up to the hype, baby. I want the same thing I want PS5 only God of War. That's why you're not going to see it tomorrow. You're going to see a lot of Ratchet. We might find out Lombax's name tomorrow. And then we're going to see some Horizon. And then honestly, I don't know what else we're really going to see because I'm feeling delays. I don't know. I maybe some Deathloop. Like hopefully Deathloop doesn't get delayed again.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I feel you on that. Like, I feel like everything that I'm hearing from a studio, like, I assume everything's delayed. And it's sad because we're all bored. We all want to play games, and like there's not enough content. Like even if we were getting some decent games coming out, even if they were coming out like regularly, it wouldn't be enough for us because we're so like as a society, as a world, we're bored. We would consume the content. How many like shows have you're talking about how many games you played this year? I'm just thinking the average person between games and TV shows. Like how many seasons of TV shows have we all collectively binged because we're all, we're bored. So we all want that content. So even if they were giving us something, I'm just saying like we're gonna be greedy and be wanting more. Is how I feel.
Here's the thing. I think it's because I just expect it. I think that I'm giving everybody a pass this year. This isn't the launch that we wanted. I wanted a stronger PS5 launch lineup. We wanted Halo Infinite for crying out loud, and look how that turned out.
Yeah.
You guys, Xbox, Sony, you get a pass. Nintendo, you don't get a pass. Give me a Switch Pro. Yeah. And give me some new first-party games. Give me my Breath of the Wild 2, dadgummit. Like, you don't get a pass simply because your console is now aging more and more. Me and my wife did beat 3D World this week, but we're talking about, again, that was a Wii U game, and it looks fine.
Yep.
But I've barely played my Switch since these two new consoles came out. Other games just look too good and run too well. Even the PS4 games that I'm playing on PS5 or the Xbox backward compatible games, they run too well to go over to the Switch and play games that have frame drops, games that have all these issues. So I'm not going to be that disappointed unless they come out and say God of War is a PS4 game. That'll disappoint me sincerely. I'll say I've played 20 games this year. I haven't beaten 20 games. Everybody knows I don't count games that I beat. It is on my GG profile for anybody who uses that app or wants to use that app along with us. I've played 20 games. I downloaded a bunch of stuff. I've come around to buying big hard drives, downloading tons of games that I paid for already. I'm playing stuff, man. I got stuff to work through. If everybody needs to take their time, give me an awesome Horizon. Give me an awesome Deathloop. I really hope Deathloop doesn't get delayed. It looks so cool.
I hope it doesn't.
Give me an awesome God of War in 2022. I will play Skyward Sword HD, and again, that's the thing where Switch is not giving us a new game. But I own so much stuff, and it runs so well on these now current gen consoles. I'm okay with taking a year off. I got my good hard drive. I got my HDR. It runs well. I'm okay. I know a lot of people are disappointed, and I was too at first. The launch lineups were definitely lackluster for both. I don't care now. Like I said, I'm playing Tactics on my Vita.
I've got so much. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And we're gonna get more as the last bit as we're ending the show. But play at home, coming back, and getting more free games. It's like I have enough, and I already have Ratchet and Clank. That's going to be the first game. So for those who don't know, 4 months of PlayStation games starting in March, you'll be able to get this for free.
You don't have to have PS Plus.
And you don't have to have PS Plus. So those who have PS Plus, you're going to get your games, and you're going to get this. I'm assuming this is not going to be, I'm assuming this is going to be one of the PlayStation Plus games. So if you're not a PlayStation Plus member, which you should be, by the way, but if you're not, you can grab these for free as they come out. It didn't say once a month. I'm going to assume it's once a month. I don't think they're going to make a big commitment on like what stuff they're going to do. I think they want to see kind of how well it does, because honestly, when it comes to Ratchet and Clank, they've given away this game on PS Plus already. Yes.
And it's a game I own twice. Everybody knows I'm a huge Insomniac person, so I've already owned it since day one anyway. But this is great. It's another free thing, and another thing that they mentioned is that they've seen a huge response to them giving away PS5 games with PS Plus, like with Control and with Bugsnax. They said that they're going to continue to do that. They have a massive backlog of PS4 games, great PS4 games to drive that value. I think that Sony, not completely, but at least realizes that Game Pass is here and is very well liked by everyone, including the two guys on this show. I think that they've realized that they need to add value where PS Plus is cheaper. For those who don't know, you can get it for $60 a year, or if you're smart, you can get it for $30 a year half the time if you go to places like CD Keys like we do. And that's massively cheaper than Game Plus. If they keep giving away quality games, that's going to be awesome. And what you'll get to do from that is, if you want to join us in our year of backlog, we are doing our 12 for 12. So we did take this week and last week off in terms of talking about it, just because I wasn't here last week and then there was some news. But I did play Ghost of Tsushima. Patrick did play Control. What we are doing is we picked 12 games that we already own. We didn't buy anything new. These are not counting all the stuff that we're going to buy. That's inevitable. It's going to happen. These are games, though, that we already own, that we have said, I'm going to play this. I am going to play this. I did Concrete Genie in January. Patrick, you did
Borderlands 3.
Borderlands. And again, I did Ghost of Tsushima this month. You did Control this month. We're going to be talking about those over the next couple weeks, and then we'll get into March. So feel free to join us. Go through your backlog. Say like, hey, I didn't play that. You don't need to set yourself up for failure. You don't need to say you're going to play 30 games. No, one per month.
Also, just dip those toes in. Try it a couple hours. I say you can't stop before. You got to play at least I'd say like an hour and a half to 2 hours of the game. Before, you can't just say this is trash. Like, give it a little bit. Give it a little bit to mellow. But dip your toes in, and if you don't like it, that's okay. That's okay.
Move on. Yeah, I have some alternates on my list for things where it's like if I legit just don't feel a game, I have some alternates on my list where I like, hey, I'll just go to that one instead. You don't have to do it. But the thing is, people, you paid for the game. You might as well play it.
Yeah. Try it out. So that's it for this week. Let us know in the comments what you thought about that. Let us know what's in your backlog. What are you ashamed of in your backlog? What's that game that everyone talks about and you're like, oh yeah, it was really good, and you don't want to admit you haven't played it, or maybe you're straight up about it. Let us know in the comments what that game is. We'll see you next time.